Well, some believed I may not have made it. No alert day tonight. So that means we get to have a chat. Now, before we get going, if you're new to this is where we have a chance to ask some questions. Something I like when I tell my stories. Got a few stories to share. Maybe even a video that I'll play. Now, a few rules. You can ask questions, but I do have a limit. Have some tact, of course. And don't push the limits. But at the same time, if you're curious, please ask. Are you guys ready? Type 25 if you're ready to go. Someone actually said it. Well, I'm about to show you in chat already. Amazing timing. You ready? I'll show you this and then we'll get started. Enjoy, everybody.
Have a good evening, everybody. And as always, thank you for shopping with us here at your local Fern Creek Kroger.
Next time you're checking out at the Fern Creek Kroger, check out Brian Good's weather forecast.
Good evening, shoppers. Here is the latest forecast. As far as I know, I'm the only store weatherman in the entire country because I have not heard of this before. Snow showers as well. Some minor accumulation is possible.
Brian's part-time job bagging groceries helps pay for college, but weather is what he's really passionate about.
It controls your life so much. It's the one thing that us humans can try to control, but at the same time, Mother Nature will always control us.
Brian remembers when his fascination with meteorology started.
17 years in Kentucky.
An 8-year-old in Mount Washington, Kentucky, watching Louisville weatherman John Belsky on the news. It was 11 years later, on May 28, 1996, that Brian learned how important meteorology can be. The night a tornado tore through Bullitt County.
They had no knowledge that a tornado was just outside the store here. So that's where it was very important that I got on the intercom and said, tornado warning, let's get to the back now.
Most nights in the checkout lane are less eventful.
Yeah, the flakes are about quarter size coming down this morning.
Brian says most everybody likes to talk about the weather, and he even gives away his custom-made winter forecast. Just for the record, Brian predicts a foot of snow the second week in January.
I'm hoping that'll happen again, but no, my luck, it'll be 75 degrees and sunny, but we won't say that right now.
It's just part of being a weather guy.
That's right. I mean, you get it right sometimes, you get it wrong, but everybody remembers when you're wrong.
Soon, Brian Good will graduate from college and look for a job. But it is his first weather gig at the grocery store he will never forget.
And a chance of rain coming in for Christmas Eve, folks. At this point, it's rain and not snow. This is Kroger weatherman Brian Good. Have a good evening, everybody. And as always, thank you for shopping with us here at your local Fern Creek Kroger.
Kelly Burkeen, Wave 3 News.
Oh, yes, a classic. I miss those days at Kroger in Fern Creek. Now, before I do turn on my camera, I want you guys to realize that, yes, I'm fully aware I do have big ears. But at the same time, it didn't feel right for me to actually let you guys see my facial expressions entirely. So instead, you're going to get this. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? No, I'm not doing a seance. Everyone thinks I'm doing a seance. I'm not. Just want to have a moment to kind of obscure any of the things I say. That way I can have plausible deniability. All right, so I'm going through all the comments. I see we got Laura and Red's in here. Now, again, you can comment or ask your questions on the social media side, whether it is YouTube or Facebook. I'm not doing that right. We also have Twitch online. And of course, X is an option as well. So ask away. No, I'm not turning the lights on. The lights are staying off. I went through a lot of work for these candles. A lot of work for these candles, all right? And they're not real if any engineers are watching. If you are curious about the weather side of things, I'm not totally ignoring that. I will get to that if we have enough time toward the very end. Fair enough? Angela, I saw your comments where you thought I sound like helium. Yeah, I just didn't hit puberty at that point. I did work at the Kroger in Fern Creek. Yes, I did. My first day, as you guys are fully aware and likely gathered from the video, was the Sunday before the 94 snowstorm. What a day to start. I look like Harold Ramis. Are you referring to the video or now? I guess cashier? I've been back before, actually. To that location, to the weather again on the intercom. No Ouija board. Don't worry. I'm not going to turn y'all into animals like a certain movie that's in the theater right now. If you're worried. Oh, Weather Geek, you're trying here. Does this mean because of the spooky theme that you're going to get a preview to the winter forecast? Could you be onto something there, Weather Geek? Nah, I don't think so. I don't know if we'll do that. But I like your train of thought. The story behind the pirate gig. I wish I had that video. That one I did not have loaded. What Shonda is referring to, though, was 2008 when I worked in Charleston, South Carolina. There is a video of it. All you have to do, just go on YouTube and Google Pirate Weatherman. I believe that's still the title of it. I don't own that video, so I'm not even sure I can even show it if I had it. Anyway, it was Halloween. I was dared to, because I was dressed like a pirate, to swing in like a pirate in front of the green screen. Seemed like a very easy request. I was up for the dare. I was younger then. You know, you make all your mistakes when you're younger. So I looped a rope around the lighting grid above the green screen. And when we came in from our segment, I did a special segment about those that like to go on vacation. It's a long story. So if you're watching the video later and you're like, what is he talking about? It's not an inside joke, but it was an inside project that we did. Anyway, I did swinging like a pirate on the rope. The problem I had, well, actually, there were two things. One, I grabbed the rope too low and barely cleared the floor. And two, I did not clear away all the items. There were a lot of junk and pieces of electronics all on the other side of the green screen. So I crashed into it on my first pass. And my feet got tangled not only in that mess, but got tangled in the rope, and I could not stand back up. It probably was more hilarious for me that was there, and certainly for my co-anchor, who could not compose herself to even respond to what had happened to save me. And we could not go back to commercial break. So I had to just go through the embarrassment myself. Again, I wish I had the video, but it's easy to find. But Sean, I don't know if that's as exciting as what the video will be doing my narrative. But yeah, that was a learning experience. I did panic when the bosses came in later that morning because, again, I was working sunrise there. I was panicked. My boss came in. He saw me and said, "Good morning, everybody." And we're like, "Good morning," with our voices shaking because we were worried he was going to yell. And he didn't say anything. He went straight into his office. And I thought, well, okay, we're fine. And then he poked his head back out and said, "Oh, hey, Brian, do I need to file workman's comp about this morning?" And we just kind of laughed and realized he was cool about it. Engineers were not as thrilled. And no, I would not do that again today. But a very good question on that. All right, I'm just not catching up in the most recent comments, so I apologize. There's a lot of you here, so it takes me a second to get all into the ground. I feel like I'm about ready to confess that I eat, what is it? What was it, Kellogg's? Where people eat the Kellogg cereal and they're all in silhouette. That's what I feel like. Run in the dark, yes. Oh, Felicia. Felicia always called me BG, and I always called her FM for Felicia Morgan. So yes, Felicia, I've known you a long time, my friend. Ashley found the video. Oh, you found the video. Well, Ashley, you can describe to everybody what it was like. Tim, what is your most memorable weather event that you were on air for? I mean, there have been several, but I honestly don't think there's anyone here that is going to deny that March 2nd, 2012 was the event. It was the big one. Mainly because we did not have the technology that we do now to have real-time reports that, we didn't have a ton of SkyTri cameras. We had radar data that indicated a tornado was on the ground. But what was scary about that event was the idea that we saw it coming 4 days in advance. All meteorologists did. And it got scary because what do you do when you have that kind of an info that indicates a significant tornado outbreak is coming? At this point, the only benchmark we had, other than the one you saw in the Belsky video in 96, was the 1974 outbreak. Not a lot of benchmarks. But this looked overwhelming to the point where we met at 7 a.m. that day, the entire weather team, and we decided we have to come up with a game plan. And we did. We had it all planned out, what we're going to do, and this is before we even got to the peak heating of the day. And the plan involved that we knew at that time that Days of Our Lives was going to be airing at 1 o'clock. And as soon as Days of Our Lives was over, immediately over, about 1:57, we were going to interrupt TV. And we were going to stay on until it was over. Even if there's nothing on the radar, we were confident that something was going to fire. We just had to wait, but at the same time be on, ready to go. And it turned out we didn't have to wait long. The first supercell developed at about 1:40 p.m. that day in Evansville and became the one that eventually wreaked havoc all the way into Henryville. So as soon as the show ended, we were on the air, and we were on the air all the way past midnight. And that was terrifying because we got the radar data that was coming in, but we were being also trying to be cautious of everything we were seeing. And we didn't try to get as much info as we could. At the time, that's when someone would hand you a piece of paper that would say, this has just happened, or this just in, whatever the case was, almost like a Ron Burgundy kind of thing, right? Of how anchors and whether people handle breaking news then was a piece of paper handed to you, versus now we look at chats that come in. I was handed a piece of paper that basically said an entire town had been wiped off the map, is how it was wrote on the paper. And I read it verbatim as it was coming from higher up, but it was scary to say it. And then the reality of what was happening really was sinking in, that right now, as we were talking, people were likely being killed. And that is just a devastating feeling to be in, because you're also trying to figure out what you can do next. Who's next in line? How do you get them out of the way? And when we knew that this was likely an F4, and we didn't have the E scale at that point, but we knew at that point, where we did have the E scale, but we didn't have the scale number yet, is what I'm trying to say, of a rating. But we knew what it was in our minds based on what we were hearing and about the radar. And at that point, we knew there's only one thing we can tell you, and it was not get into the lowest level of your home, not get into the basement, not get into a closet. The only course of action at that point was to get underground. And that is the only time in my career I've ever said that. And I hope I never have to again. That's the only time, because that's the only way you can really survive them when they get to that intensity. And it was personal. My brother lived there in Henryville. I've told you that before, I believe. And my nieces were on the buses that were there. And we didn't hear anything from anyone in my family for a while that evening. So it was a lot of unknowns. I remember my mom calling me upset. I had to take myself off the air and mute my mic to take my mom's call. And it was scary, terrifying. And unfortunately, we lost people that day. That sticks with you forever. That day will always stick with all of us that were here, whether we're still in the business or not. It never leaves you. And I hope we never have to go through that again. But there were a lot of lessons learned too that day. I don't always look at every tornado event as that is the benchmark against March 2nd, but I know what March 2nd felt like. I remember the data for March 2nd. So I can always tell you that if I feel that I'm as alarmed and concerned as I was 4 days before March 2nd, you will hear that from me if I ever felt that. And I have not since that day. We may see we're concerned about damaging weather, but if I avoid the flat out idea that it's anything in comparison to it, then I'm hoping that means something. It's just sad that it had to get to that point. Sorry to get into a kind of a downer, but that's the best way I can answer that. Do you agree with the theory that Tornado Alley is shifting east? I don't think it's shifting. I think it's expanding. I think we are at the mercy of blocking patterns now, but it's the illusion based on what the pattern is of where Tornado Alley takes place. But it could just as easily next year, especially being El Nino, return back into Kansas and Oklahoma on a constant basis and quiet down in other areas. So I don't think there's any shifting personally. I just think that the number of reports are going up for two reasons: weather patterns and the amount of moisture in the air certainly has gone up tremendously along the Gulf. So that has certainly fed Dixie Alley in a big way. This year, it's all been about the Midwest, but the Midwest typically gets severe weather in the summer, but it's usually the upper Midwest, not the central portions of it. So that stands out a bit more. But to have, like the other day, a Wisconsin tornado, is that unheard of in July? No, that's actually where you would expect them to be in July. To get a strong tornado in southern Alabama, though, this time of year would be very unusual. And we thankfully have not had that kind of abnormally, but that we have more flooding issues. But it's all about where they're at certain times of the year. And this time of the year, it's the upper Midwest that is more of a target. And even Canada, this is their tornado season now in Canada, is July. We've learned so much about the weather as Wave. Not to be all untrusted way. Thank you, FM. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Hey, we've known each other a long time here. Too long. I always tease Kevin. I've known Kevin long enough to know that I remember when he had hair. I hope he's not watching. Actually, he's going to be here in a minute because he's doing the 11 o'clock tonight. But I've known Kevin since he was 18. We were interns together at LKY. So I've known him a long time. I mean, Tawana's been here now over a decade. Can you believe that? Tawana's been over a decade. Ryan, I remember, I think he was playing Hot Wheels. I don't know when he started here. I mean, it's, and Carson is, I guess you want to call him our newbie, but he's not a newbie. He grew up here and we've known him for a long time. And he's now been here for a few years. So it's amazing how quickly time flies. But this is a very unique team in that idea that everything's personal to everyone here as far as our hometown. We have our people here, our family is here. Tawana's mom's here now living. So we all have our families that are around, and we all can think back to March 2nd, what that felt like, of wondering and scaring our minds into like, what do we do? How do we take care of them and take care of you all, our family watching? It's a very tough balance. Carrie, is your brother Carrie? Yes. My brother is named Carrie. Do you know him? He's actually a horticulturist. And when I was a kid, he was on with Tom Wells talking about plants. And I remember that he came home that day and he said, yeah, I was on there with Tom doing a plant segment today on Sunrise. And Tom said, are you related to little Brian? He said, yeah, that's my brother. So at one point, Tom always referred to me as little Brian. Mom ended up with 2 boys interested in nature, though. I'm sure she regrets it. Hey, Mike. Yeah, I-65 weather. I know you guys have been tracking them all, but yeah, the supercells were dramatic there. They were all over the place, right? New Liberty, Kentucky. And Mike, I can even add on the last other memorable event I'd had, not here at Wave, but would have been the April 16th, 1998 storm down in Bowling Green. That hail, I've never seen hail that size since that day. I'm telling you, when you're in a hailstorm and the hail falls, but it doesn't bounce, that's not a good thing. Hail should always bounce. If it doesn't, you better find some place to get inside. Does it get old wearing suits every day? Would you rather be a meteorologist or a rock star? Okay, well, those two different questions, really. Does it get old wearing suits every day? It can, but to be honest with you, I'm either in my suit or I'm a run around in my PJs. To be honest, if you guys have seen me out at Kroger or a movie theater or wherever I've been, someone just saw me. I think I was seeing something. It may have been Masters of the Universe, and I was wearing a Michael Myers hoodie. Anyway, I don't really dress up a lot and going out because I'm usually tired of wearing a suit at that point. Tired of we have to wear makeup, and trust me, my face does not like to wear makeup. So I try to cover up the fact that I'm 85. But anyway, you just want to relax and wear your PJs. But would I rather be a meteorologist or a rock star? A meteorologist, for sure. I feel for rock stars. I'm an introvert. I am not one that can handle the idea of like paparazzi, like you see any celebrity in Hollywood or rock stars that just can't do anything in life. They can't go anywhere. You got to live in a fortress. I'm not sure that's fun, to be honest. Yeah, you make amazing movies and you write amazing songs, but you can't go to Kroger. Now, thankfully, I don't have that issue of paparazzi, but I'm kind of glad in that sense. And I'm saying that, and I don't want you guys to feel like you don't want to ever say hi to me. If you were to see me out, please say hi to me. I'm not going to be scared or bite your head off or anything like that. Just don't take that I'm being an introvert and being shy as that I don't want to talk. It's just that most of the time I really am not paying attention. So I hope that answered your question. Very long about way. I probably added too much. Janice, why not a basement? Well, a basement is, underground is basically the same thing. It's just that our alarming factor is not everyone has a basement. We're just going to say you got to get underground. We're not just going to just say a level at that point. We're just going to be flat out underground. A basement, technically, yes, would include underground, Janice. So I didn't mean to confuse you by saying that. But being underground somehow is the key. And when you get to EF4, EF5 status, that's about the only way to get through those because they swipe off the foundations. Hey, Renee, do you ever get to see or talk to John Belsky? And it wasn't too long ago. I would say a month ago, I talked to him on the phone. Kevin talks to him a lot. They're obviously very close. They worked together for years. And he's saying in there, he watches, and he's probably watching right now. But John is, I think, if I remember right, John is an introvert like me. So I don't think John would ever comment or chat in here. He's probably lurking. But he does watch, and he pays attention. And Kevin and I have talked about this many times. We hope we've made him proud for what this team has become, because we knew what it was like when we were kids growing up, how it was cradled and valued. And we were hoping that as a team growing up, and Ryan included in that too, that we've added value to that we've lived up to that legacy. At least I hope. Hey, Wizard, what does Brian do when he isn't looking at the weather? Well, I'm always looking at the weather. Ask my mom. I stay on my phone. I think it's one of those things that people kind of expect me to always be looking at a weather model. Otherwise, I watch a lot of Twitch. I really do. I watch a lot of YouTube. I don't watch a lot of TV shows like I used to. And I'm a movie fanatic. I feel like I've seen every movie that's in existence. It's what it feels like. I know I've missed a lot, but I love movies. And I think as a kid, I always immersed myself in movies. And it really all started back in the day of E.T. and watching Gremlins. I just immersed myself in the alternate worlds that were out there that were being created, especially in sci-fi. I'm a huge fanatic of Star Wars. And I just love 3 hours of my time taking a break from all the chaos and all the bad news that we hear, especially in this day, that we hear all the time, just to take a break and go into another world for a minute. And honestly, I've already commented about the Odyssey. That's why I love the Odyssey so much. I love the Odyssey because the Odyssey was just a whole other dream world, right? Not exactly a world I don't know if I'd want to live in, but it was very much a dream world. But you kind of just forgot about anything bad going on because you're just immersed in the characters. So I love movies that are that creative that can do that. If I'm paying attention to a weather model during a movie, then it's not a good movie. Angela, yes, we used to work together back at Charter years ago. They're off of Hurstbourne Parkway, the Twin Tower buildings that are there. Hey, Janice. Janice has been by here to visit before. You need to come by and visit again. Adam, what's your favorite sports team? Or do you even like sports? I was, and I still am, a fanatic more for college basketball. I'm not into NBA really. I like college, but it's all the way around for football. I prefer NFL over college. It just depends. But honestly, I'm kind of ride the wave like everybody else does. When you have an amazing sports moment that is about to happen and everyone's captivated by it, I love that about sports. And I love the Olympics for many reasons. A lot of it being just because there's not so much of a contract and a paycheck as it is a true drive to win. And I think the Olympics are just amazing to watch, and they get very emotional when you watch, right? So that, as far as sports, if you want to call me a sports fan, that's where my idea will go. But I do not have a dedicated team that it has to win every year, or I get mad every year. Other than the Hilltoppers, I always got to say that. Semi-rather related question. Whenever y'all say south of Louisville, does that include all of Jefferson County or just south of the city? Good question. I do tend to, because we have 34 counties, I do see the viewing areas of 1, 2, 3. 1 being north of Louisville, 3 being Louisville Metro, and then 3 being south of the Metro when I refer to Louisville. The Metro, by the way, is basically any county that touches Jefferson. And you would include those that are right along the river there. So Clark, Floyd, DeBullet, Shelby, Oldham, that's the Metro. We refer to the parkways a lot. A lot of you ask, well, what do you mean by parkways? Well, the parkways is a good dividing line. It splits names at E-Town. East of it is the Bluegrass. West of it is the Western Kentucky. So we just say the parkways. It's the same road, but different names. If you live in that area, you know what I'm talking about. In Indiana, it's pretty easy. You guys know Indiana. You guys know US 50 and how that can divide our northern tier. So there's different little benchmarks, and we try to always make sure we're cognizant of that, to make sure we try to explain that. We don't always think about that every single moment, especially in severe weather. But a lot of you that have been here for a while get those references. I feel like Brian's about to tell us ghost stories. Well, interestingly enough, I don't know if I should tell you this. I don't know if I should tell you. Well, I'll tell you what. There's a reason why I cannot do the 11 o'clock news tonight. But I can't tell you what it is. But I will next week. Sorry. I can't give away the spoiler, but I'll explain next week. It's nothing major. It's just that I just can't. Just remember that moment, though, the question. Hey, Brandon, I'm glad you asked that. We were just told today we are going to be at the fair. Make sure I have the date right. It's a Tuesday this year. Let's see. I believe it's the 18th. I want to double check that. So make sure before I say wrong that I have it right. I know it's a Tuesday, which I think the past few years it's been a Tuesday. No, it's the 25th. Sorry, 25th. Tuesday the 25th is Wave Day at the fair. And we'll be out there pretty much all day. I'll be out there from midday all the way through the 3 o'clock show. Now, I do tend to roam around because we are going to be live in the shows, but we'll find each other. And I hope that you all have, that I've never met before, that I've always wanted to say hello and just never can make it happen. I hope you can make it happen. Please come out and say hi to us. Tell us about little Dobie. Dobie's my Yorkie poo dog. I think he's watching right now, probably. He's either watching that or animal videos. I never know with Dobie. But Dobie, I did not plan to get. I was actually going to get a Maltipoo. I have allergies, so I have to get a specific kind of dog to help with allergies. I went to get the Maltipoo, and it was a little wild. It worried me. I was trusting my gut. Something's not right with this dog. Something just ain't firing all cylinders here. However, I did notice a dog next to me that was on a couch that was very small and very quiet. And I said, can I have this one? And they said, I'm sorry, no. It's not up for debate. They're not going. They're not for sale. And then I pleaded, and I eventually convinced them to let me have them. And on the way back, the poor thing started to vomit pretty bad. I thought it was car sickness. And then it didn't stop. And then he wouldn't eat food or nothing. I knew I had a problem. So I took him to the emergency vet, and they said that he had a liver shunt, and he has to have emergency surgery, or he's got roughly about 10 to 12 days to live. So, of course, I did the surgery, and it was touch and go for a while. And usually they do well when they have the surgery, but he struggled in recovery, and he pulled through, and now he's 10 years old. So he's kind of like how Nemo was for me, my previous dog that I had. If you guys remember Nemo, Dobie was just a miracle that just we happened to be at the right place at the right time to find each other, and it worked out. So I'm glad that he's still around. He's quite the character, but very, very spoiled. But that's okay. They're supposed to be spoiled, right? Thank you for asking about little Dobie there. Let's see. You guys are funny. You're figuring out my comments pretty easy. Let's see. Are you ever going to bring your turtles on the blog? Well, I don't know if, Harry's been here, or Harriet. She's been on every year she's on. Not really on the blog. Dobie's been on the blog a few times. At least once a year, Dobie's been on. Adam, where did you start your meteorologist career, and how do you compare the forecast and the weather when you first started to today? Well, I mean, obviously you know the answer to that, right? It's changed a lot dramatically. I started at WBKO in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Then I went to Charleston, South Carolina. Loved Charleston. I could go back. And then I went to the Weather Channel in Atlanta, and then here. Kind of did a complete circle over the East Coast, if you will. But yeah, it's changed a lot. TV news is different. People actually seeked you out to watch TV news, right? And the weather forecast. They had to watch to find out what was going to happen. Now you guys can find out whenever you want. We just got to make sure that when you are looking for us, we're there. Which is where the streams come into play, the apps, and the multiple weather hits you see on TV show. And not all of that is to be repetitive to annoy you guys. It's actually what our number one thing that we hear from you all is more weather. And even if it repeats. So that's what we do. It's changed a lot. AI is changing it even more. So I'm not sure what is about to happen next. But it's sure going to be interesting. And I just hope I make it to retirement. Someone asked a question that went by. It flew by too fast on me. Hold on. What is your favorite fair food? Corn dog. I love corn dog, but I love elephant ears. Elephant ears are my weakness. I don't really ride many fair rides anymore. I'm more of the bigger theme park rides. Jordan, you're not, and I know you're a weather enthusiast. I know your favorite weather event is big snow. What is your least favorite weather to forecast? Honestly, I'm not a fan of severe weather. I'm not a fan of severe weather outbreaks, tornadoes, all that stuff. I'm not a fan of all that. I'm not. There's never anything good that seems to come from that, right? It gives me a lot of anxiety too. Snow is just, I know snow can be disruptive. I get that. Snow is so slow evolving though, that you have plenty of time to get ready. But it's when snow falls that it's the most magical for me. Because that very moment that it stops, I immediately look out, and when you look at a front yard and you see nothing but the snow glittering in the yard itself, it's just something about how peaceful it is and how it just coats everything. Everything can be chaotic in the world, but you cover everything in snow, and then suddenly everything just is quiet and it gets peaceful out. And then Dobie runs to the front yard and makes his paw prints all in the snow that I love. But snow is just fun. And majority of the fun is the forecasting part. I get it. It's frustrating. I get more hate mail than any other time of the year. Oh, I meant to hit my head on the mic. Trust me. I get more hate mail than any other time of year, but that's all right. I can handle it. All right. I get it. It's not personal. You're just mad. But social media has made it worse. Trust me. But it's fun. It's like a game. It is really like a game. It's a puzzle to figure out. And we always try to figure out every year, what did we learn last time? Then we can do better next time. And it's just a constant cycle. And it's the fact that it's part of the chaos theory means that we're never going to figure it out. We're going to keep chasing the carrot, but it's the fun of that. Oh, Heather, sorry, I didn't mean to bring up about Nemo. You know, Nemo passed away. It was 10 years ago last week. He was a good dog. On that note, will it snow at my house this winter? Look, easy for me to say yes now. You're not going to remember this post, so I'll go for it. Yeah, it's going to snow a lot at your house. The neckties. I don't know how many Kevin has. I have about, I would say 250, maybe. I have a lot of ties. A lot. Trust me, when you are a weather person, actually, you're anybody in TV, that's all you're going to get as a Christmas present and birthday and for the 4th of July and Easter and Labor Day. You're always going to get a tie. So they accumulate fast. You don't always see them on there, but I have them all just in case. I love the weather Christmas ones. Hey, Clinton, favorite band or genre of music? Well, I'm a huge 80s fanatic. Can't go wrong with the 80s. Those songs just hit. You know, like you knew the words to the songs from the 80s. I don't know the words of the songs today. I have no idea what's going on. But in the 90s, I was a big alternative music fan. Smashing Pumpkins. I was this radio station that I was DJ at, and yes, I used to be a DJ. We were one of the first stations in the country to play Smashing Pumpkins. One of the first to play Garbage, not just saying it's garbage, the actual band Garbage. I love, we had, it was a wide range from Korn to Tori Amos. I mean, there was a lot, but the 90s alternative scene was unreal. And that was my college days. And I love it. What's an elephant ear? Well, Paula, I can tell you it's not really an elephant, so don't be alarmed. It's a big, giant piece of dough with cinnamon all over it, which I'm really craving right now. Hey, Cody. You'll have friendly competition on who gets the predictions the closest. Well, yeah, we do, especially our snow guests. We have that on the blog every year for snow for the winter season. We try to see who's going to figure out the first 1 inch of snow. I'll be doing that soon, getting those graphics ready. But yeah, of course we do. It's always fun. We do our best to share our ideas to create like a one brain idea, because we all have different experiences, different opinions, different thoughts of models. And that works well in a team environment. You're able to point out things you didn't think of. And you learn things at the same time. So we are really good about doing that, because that only benefits you all. Your least favorite aspect of meteorology in school? Probably the calculus for sure. Thermodynamics actually was fascinating, but that's a hard course. Aviation meteorology was my favorite. Loved aviation meteorology. RIP Dr. Glenn Connor. He was great. Were you afraid of storms as a kid? I've always heard meteorologists say that. No, not really afraid. What was scary for me was not the storm as a kid. What was scary for me is how warnings were done then. And some of you that are the OGs on here, you know what I'm talking about. If you had a tornado warning in the entire screen, if you had a tornado warning that came out, your entire screen went red. And it said tornado warning, and that's all you had on there. And then the loud tone that was on there. And that's all you had. And you just had to listen to that. And sometimes you would have someone come on and explain what was happening. And sometimes you just had that red screen and nobody was saying anything, which to me was more terrifying because you just didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I totally, I was never scared of the storms, just again, scared of just how they were done during that time. But I know I'm not alone on that. Someone else has got to know that red screen. Some of you are like, did the background just go red? Air raid sirens are also scary to me. They would get your heart racing. As a weather enthusiast, that sound is actually a little addictive. You would try your best to strain to hear it, especially the ones that went up and down in the tone instead of a constant sound. I went to Hart Stern Elementary next to Jefferson Mall, and they always did the test, the second Tuesday of every month. They did the test at noon, right? That was also the time it was nap time for a lot of the kids in class because the teacher couldn't say anything because we were right up against the air raid siren. So for the 2 minutes, wherever it was at last, you just had to stay quiet. But for me, I was just in awe of listening to that sound. And to me, it's just an eerie sound to hear, along with lightning and thunder out. I think the anxiety goes higher. I'd much rather have heard meteorologists or TV people explain what was happening than to listen to that sound. Janice, Metal, were you at Metallica? I did go see Metallica, but not back then. It was recent years I saw Metallica. EAS scares you? Yeah. Yeah, those can be scary tones. Hey, Reagan. You guys have been getting my storm spotting certification and getting into meteorology. Well, congratulations. Everyone say congrats to Reagan, please. That's what we need to hear more of. We want to not turn you away from this as a career option, but hopefully inspire the young minds to be curious. Again, weather models are just that. They're all, especially the physics models, are made by man. They're flawed automatically. But because of the X factor, the chaos theory, weather is always going to be the carrot you got to chase. But somebody one day, and it's not going to be AI, but somebody one day is going to figure this all out and nail it down to the second on every aspect of the weather. And they're going to be, which is not even the word, you'll be set for life. But unfortunately, with the chaos theory, it's impossible. So I just have hope one day we'll get closer. And we are. We're way closer than we were before I even started at Wave. It's amazing how much data we got now. We had like 3 weather models when I started out. Now they're like 20. Thank you all for congratulating Reagan. Appreciate that. I don't like the nighttime storms. Yeah, but we get those a lot, don't we? Why are you disguising yourself? I can't tell you what I did, Adam. Are you trying to protect your secret identity as an on-air superhero? It's not a coincidence Spider-Man came out. I did not dye my hair. My hair is turning gray. I have no control over that. Do you miss the Weather Channel? Sometimes. I miss the people. It's not what you think it's going to be like. I had a vision in my head as a kid of what it'd be like to work there one day with, you know, Jim Cantori and Janetta Jones, Declan Cannon, Tom Moore. I had all those heroes in my mind, right? And while I got to work with Cantoria and Mike Bettis and Stephanie Abrams, I mean, I got to do that. But it's different when you're there. It's just, first off, it's many, many floors to that building. And their cafeteria was one of my favorite spots. The cafeteria, each section of it, whether it was the area where you get sushi or Italian, didn't matter. It was all weather themed. The name of the cafeteria was called The Front. But you would go to the salad bar and it was called the ISO bar. It was very creative. And it probably doesn't exist now due to budget cuts, the way this business is. But it was very, very cool. And their newest set they built was a 360 set when I left. And they had a observation deck above it to where you can look out when you do tours. And you could see the set. And that was the most amazing thing to see. And I did a lot of the digital work for them, their app videos. And they had separate rooms with chroma keys. And my desk in my office actually was a weather system with my own radar. Everybody that worked there had their own radar at their desk that you can control. The same system we have here at Wave. It's pretty wild. But there were a lot of people that worked there. It was a lot of fun. For many, many years, it was a secret where we were. We did not even have a logo on the building due to security issues. Now it's on there. So you know it if you're traveling on I-75, you'll see it. If you're heading south, look to your left. Can't miss it. Who forgot to, anybody forgot to pay LG&E bill? I'll hear about it. Twister came out when you were a kid, Allison? Oh my goodness. Is the fire marshal okay with these are battery operated? See, look. I'm not burning. No, just kidding. I'm burning. Everything's battery operated and digital these days. You know that. Sometimes this stuff's better than the actual flames, right? All right, don't be mad. I got 2 minutes left and I do have to run. By the way, while the music's playing, look at that shot. Isn't that gorgeous? Everybody running around downtown. Everyone's going out to dinner, I'm sure. Everyone's going clubbing. Going to the movies. Don't you ever just look at a shot like that? This is where I get my imaginative brain. I always wonder, what's everybody doing down there? Where are they going? Sorry, I get a little emotional sometimes. Would you say, Tyler? I stashed a Twix bar away for the first snow of the year. Way to go, Tyler. Hold on to that Twix. I still have quite a few. They're actually in my desk, but I don't know if it's safe to eat them anymore. Because I've been waiting still for the big snow, the really big one. Winter forecast, by the way, comes out Halloween night. That's a Saturday this year. It's going to be a tough one. I say that every year. but it's going to be a tough one. And Snow Talk, by the way, this is going to be the 25th season of Snow Talk, because I started Snow Talk years ago and did a blog every winter. So this is the 25th year, same name. So I hope you guys are pumped and ready for it. Bringing back the Twix meter. Everyone keeps explaining why Twix. That's an easy story. And I've told this before, but for those that are new, when I first started at Wave, probably my first or second year, I was putting together a winter forecast, and I made a comment that the sugar rush of the Twix bar that I'm eating has caused me to slip on the keyboard and increase the snow amounts. And I had that as a post. And everyone lit up my page saying, please eat more Twix. Then people started sending me Twix. And then FedEx trucks were coming with Twix. I would go to events. I would go to the fair. Boxes of Twix. It was insane. So the Twix meter came about, as same as a snow meter, a 1 to 10. And eventually I had to say, okay, I've got enough Twix. And I've got diabetes now, but I've got enough Twix. So I appreciate the thought and gesture. But that's how the whole Twix thing came about. So I know when you guys mention Twix, I know you're the OGs, because I don't talk about it as much as I used to. Do you have copyright issues with Snow Talk? I don't know. I don't really. It doesn't bother me. Like bots. Bots was started here at Wave. And while I was the first to say it on TV for Bring On the Snow, Troy Carter, rest in peace. We miss her. She was a viewer that came by, and we were trying to come up with acronyms one day, joking about snow. And she said, why don't we do bots for Bring On the Snow? And I loved it. When we mentioned it that day, unfortunately, she has passed away since then. But I tell you, bots has taken off. I will see people in New Jersey, TV Mets up there in New York City have mentioned bots. So bots has taken off. It's everywhere. But if you ever hear it, know that it started here with our family. So it is a Wave OG term there. All right, guys. I've got to wrap it up. I got somewhere to be. But I have enjoyed my time with you, as I always do for Braun After Dark. And I am sorry that it isn't as often as it needs to be. Lately, it's been once a year. But who knows? I didn't think I would be back 2 nights in a year. The first time I had to do an alert day. Ironic, there's an alert day tomorrow. Go figure on that. But maybe we can get one in before we get to for the winter forecast. Does that work? All right, everyone, put a heart in chat. Share the love with everybody. Bring out all your hearts, please, and your emotion and your emojis there. Hearts and snowflakes. I want to see a bunch. I want you guys to spam this chat more than you've ever done before while we play out here for the rest of the music. I will see you guys coming up on Monday. Kevin Hartnett's got you covered for the Alert Day latest at 11 o'clock tonight. Take care, guys. All right, I'll play a little bit longer.